Hi, my name is Nasser Rabbat. I'm the Aga Khan professor in the Department of Architecture here at MIT, and I have been teaching here for 31 years. I'm also a graduate of MIT. I did my PhD here. I'm an architect by training, but I'm first and foremost now a historian and also a citizen of the world, and a very opinionated citizen of the world, at least the parts of the world that I know about, which is mostly the West and the Islamic world. I am interested, very much interested, in the relationship between power and knowledge and the effect of power on the production, dissemination, and absorption of knowledge, as this cartoon from For Better or For Worse shows. I'm decidedly interested in the relationship between power and the production of history, specifically the history of architecture. And the tools that I use are what we commonly now know as post-colonialism, the criticism of how the history of architecture has been constructed over time to basically give the core of the evolution of architecture to a presumed Western tradition that started in antiquity and moved all the way down to the present with no account of traditions outside of the West. This is more obvious in the way we understand and teach modern architecture. And I'll read this from an article of mine. The discourse on modern architecture has yet to assimilate colonization and decolonization with all of their architectural expressions as constituents in its narrative, along with other notions already incorporated in its standard histories, such as technology, realism, rationalism, and universalism. Perhaps then we can begin to see modern architecture as a historical phenomenon rooted in the full context of its time, and that includes colonialism, capitalism, fascism, its collaboration with all the oppressive regime inside and outside the metropolis, rather than the way it is usually presented as this heroic tradition, still considered the exclusive domain of a pedigreed lineage of star architect, of famous architects. I'm also interested in the city and in a relationship between the life in the city, the civics, and ultimately civilization as basically the summation of our experience of the city. And I'm interested in the history of the city from the old cities of Mesopotamia in the third millennium BC, all the way down to the present. Of course, my focus is in Islamic world. And here are just few shots of the books that I published in the last 25, 30 years. Some of them are in Arabic, some of them are in English, and they all are either on the architecture of the Islamic world, specifically on Mamluk architecture, or in the architecture of the late Byzantine period, or the courtyard house. And then I have few essays on modern architecture, or 19th century architecture of Egypt, on autobiography, and on few issues about history, architecture, and Arabism and Pan-Arabism in the 20th century. Thank you.